Okay, so first today, I'm going to kick it off with a story that has had legs for days. And when it comes to celebrity news and gossip and scandal, honestly, not a lot of them do. But, we're Friday now, and this story broke on Sunday. So it's important, obviously, and we deeply need to talk about it. Bill Belichick, the former New England Patriots coach, former other half of Tom Brady. I don't even know anything about football. I truly don't care about football, but I am riveted to this story, as all of you are, I'm sure. And his girlfriend, who was born when Bill was about 49 years old. Do you remember that SNL skit that Tina Fey and Amy Poehler did? It was a game show with like three men. It was almost like Jeopardy style setup. And the game show was called Meet Your Second Wife. And out walk like 5-year-old girls, and these men are horrified. And the host is like, I can assure you, you will be marrying this girl in about 18 years. So Bill, I just actually did a column on this for the Daily Mail. He sat with CBS Sunday Morning because he has a book out, and it's called The Art of Winning. And it's highly ironic given the epic fail that this interview is. And people seem to think there might be something wrong with Bill. I don't think there is, and I'll tell you why. But look at who's running the show. I mean, this guy has been dealing with the media for the bulk of his adult life, for longer than he's been. Like, this is what he does. He knows how to sit and do an interview with, by the way, a velvet glove Sunday morning show that like 99% of their stories traffic in feel good stuff. Okay, they're not breaking news over there. But look who's running the show in this interview, and look at what Bill Belichick is wearing.
We have Jordan right over there. Everybody in the world seems to be following this relationship. They've got an opinion about your private life. It's got nothing to do with them, but they're invested in it. How do you deal with that?
Never been too worried about what everybody else thinks. Just try to do what I feel like is best for me and what's right.
How did you guys meet?
Not talking about this.
No?
No.
It's a topic neither one of them is comfortable commenting on.
Okay. So the story that these two like to tell about how they met, they used to talk about it. I don't know why this is suddenly off limits again on a very, very friendly Sunday morning show, was that they were on the same plane. Jordan was like a 21-year-old college student. Okay, you guys, she says she was reading a book called Deductive Logic. It was a college textbook. Deductive effing logic. Bill, what do you think this woman is with you for? Because you're connected via a soul explosion unlike any other. You're old, you're sloppy, you look, I'm not saying you are, but you look like you might have a drinking problem, and you are not fit. You don't seem like a fun guy, like you don't. And here's Jordan sitting there, shutting this down. Okay, first of all, if this story is true, which I highly doubt, she's a 20-year-old college kid of limited means. So either she's flying first class or Belichick is flying in coach, and he doesn't strike me as the kind of guy who's gonna fly coach, okay? Or they were on a private jet. And again, how a college kid of limited means who is just busy with her head in a book called Deductive Logic rub shoulders with Bill Belichick on a private plane. I mean, I don't really know about that. So what also broke the other day, I think it was yesterday or the day before, Bill's friends are so alarmed that they are staging an intervention, that they have to plan this very carefully because he's in really deep with this one. No shit. I mean, it also just came out that he has gifted this woman $8 million in real estate. Okay. I hope this man had a vasectomy. I truly do. And Charles Barkley has gone public himself and said he's really worried about his friend Bill. Now, I want to make a note about this, the ripped, stained, ratty sweatshirt, which some people are like taking as kind of like a sign that mentally he might be losing it. You'll be happy to know that I consulted with Bill from Brooklyn last night, who can fill in all of my sports knowledge gap. And he told me that Belichick is infamous for doing this, and that it's his way of basically saying to people, fuck you, I'm better than you. I'm so much better and smarter and richer and more successful than you that I don't have to come to play dressed in an appropriate way. And, not for nothing, but there are a lot of like younger head coaches right now, Shawn McVey, I believe, being one of them. They show up on the field and they are like, they have their stuff together. They look tight. They look clean. They look crisp. I mean, he's got like this Sean does this like aerodynamic hair that's kind of like very David Beckham-y. He always looks extremely well put together, as he should. You're representing a multi-billion-dollar organization. You're representing the NFL. Bill Belichick has always been an ass to the media. And, so why change now, I suppose, even though you're trying to sell a book? Now you're an author. You're an author, you're an astronaut, depending on the day. He's an author now. And he's trying to sell a book. And to sell a book, first of all, as I write books, like I can tell you, every single author would give their left arm and a kidney to get booked on CBS Sunday Morning. That show moves books, number one. And number two, you're just going to get like a very high gloss, like kissy profile. Thirdly, more women than men buy books. Okay. So this guy needs to appeal to women out there who might buy the book for the men in their lives, their husbands, their boyfriends, their sons, whatever. What woman is going to be like, I want to put money in that guy's pocket so he can go put it in this 24-year-old Insta Thoughts pocket? Like, no, thank you. I would like to also take a moment to salute, and I'm not being ironic, Tony Dopal. I love this guy. First of all, he's the guy doing the interview with Bill Belichick, knows how to ask a question. He sits next to Gayle King 5 days a week. Okay, so this guy has balls of steel. He's seen it all. He was also the only journalist that I can recall who, when Ta-Nehisi Coates, the famous Black intellectual that all the liberal media just adores, was doing his book tour a few months ago. He wrote a book on Israel versus Palestine in the wake of October 7th, the October 7th attacks on Israel. He admittedly said, look, I don't know nothing about this conflict. I'd never been. So he goes and he spends like 4 days in Israel. And he comes back and he writes a book comparing what's going on with Palestinians vis-a-vis Israel is akin to America and the Jim Crow South. And the media laps this garbage up. And what does Tony Dopal do? But he asks him some actual real questions. I believe Tony has an ex-wife and maybe 2 children who live in Israel. Okay, so he asks him some actual confrontational questions, which is the job description of a journalist. Not that Gayle King would know because she's too busy going into space and then hooking up with Oprah platonically to go to a Beyonce show, which we're going to get to. But I salute you, Tony Dopal. By the way, Gayle King, as far as I understood it, did not stand up for Tony when he caught shit inside the walls of CBS News for doing his job. The other thing that does fascinate me about Tom Brady and Bill Belichick is that when Tom Brady left the New England Patriots, the speculation was, okay, like now we're going to see who the true talent of that team was. It was either Bill who made Tom, Tom who made Bill, or the two of them together, because how will one of these two replicate the success? Guess what? It's Tom Brady, okay? Tom Brady. Now, would I be surprised to learn that Tom Brady was dating a 24-year-old he like connected with on Raya, that app for the celebrity dating app? I would not. I would be surprised if I heard about it because Tom Brady infamously keeps his shit tight, except for the one time. And again, I wish Andy Warhol were still with us, because if you want to talk about the pantheon of celebrity, either paparazzi photos or photos that wind up on Instagram, even though they probably shouldn't have, it is this glorious image of Ben Affleck's former nanny, who he always has denied having an affair with, on a private plane with Ben and Tom Brady wearing all 4 of Tom Brady's Super Bowl rings. You guys, Jennifer Garner hung in that marriage as long as she could. And then I worked at the New York Post when we got this image, and the newsroom practically exploded. And it takes a lot to like electrify, bitter seasoned journalists. People were losing that, like brains were spilling out of hair. It was wild. Anyway, 3 days later, Jen Garner files for divorce. So Again, Bill, get a lawyer, get a vasectomy, and don't rewrite your will for this one, okay?